Hello, welcome to another live episode. Well, not live episode, it's a live YouTube live. It's really just chilling and talking about non duality, answering any questions you may have about non duality, and yeah, just really chilling. We're not going to react to anything today. We're not going to, um, look at any videos today, more or less going to chill. I was about to cancel this because I wasn't feeling too good. I just felt really tired, but something in me said, "Let's share. Let's talk. Let's see what's going on, and let's see what questions may come up." Um, but yeah, so just before we start, there's a few things like I will be so my episode on the podcast this week is going to be about Lao Tzu, and we're looking at the first two verses of the Tao Te Ching, and in there we're going to be. A really interesting take. It's my take on the Tao Te Ching and um, essentially what it means to me and how it relates to non-duality. So that's pretty good and pretty interesting. It's uh, it's one which I've enjoyed doing because I remember reading the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, many years ago, and I've always revisited the text. I've always gone back to it to have a look at what is said, um, and always find something new. I always find that there's something new that I've learned or something new that I've gained as an understanding. So yeah, so we going through that, and there's the reason why I like Dao De Jing is in the very first line in the Dao De Jing. It says, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao." And for me, that's like a great lesson where you really can't make a dogma out of the Tao. You can't really make it into a doctrine. You can't become fanatical about it. It's a very easygoing spiritual text, and I think that's what's unique about it. So yeah, so I am. So I've been doing that. Been working on that, and I've done the editing. So really, see, it's a really good episode. I really enjoyed recording it, and it's also very nice when you get to reflect back on your journey spiritually as well. When you look at these texts like the Tao Te Ching, and there's certain lines that talk about the master and about the sage, and you're able to personally relate to it and talk about your own teacher, or I get to give a bit of an insight into how my relationship with my guru, which to be honest, maybe in February I will do an episode on my guru and the importance of um that my guru has in my life and continues to have, and the influence that is always there. So yeah, um, so we'll be doing that. And then apart from that, in terms of the things that I'm planning, let me just sit back a bit. I'd be looking at a few. Let me see. Um, I'll be. I'm also working on the next kind of guided meditation version. So I'll be working on that. That would be published next week, next month, and so will the conversations with the bearded mystic. Gonna get big on just getting those out. So that's really important for me to do because I've had so many conversations, but one thing to another, I've not been able to edit them and do justice to them. But there's some really good, interesting conversations with people that I really want to share. Um, so yeah, so there's two things. With the second version of the guided meditation, there is going to be a book that's going to supplement it. So although the book will not be released straight away with the meditation, but it will be eventually shared um, amongst everybody. So yeah, people on Patreon will get it for free. Everybody else, there may be not a nominal charge for it or pay as you want type of thing. So yeah, um, but yeah, welcome to the live stream, and I think when I react to things, people like that and they join, um, which is always interesting. Uh, but yeah, so yes. Apart from that, there's really nothing that I want to share. Everything else is kind of being shared. And I would say that I'm still going through, like, I still plan to react to a few of the Neo Advaita or the pseudo non-dual videos. That still is on. Um, the one from Muji was an interesting one. You know, as much as I've had some interesting takes on some people that messaged me privately about the that video about standing with the sages. I have found that to be an interesting take that people have given. Not one that I necessarily agree with, but they've been interesting. Um, and even in general, um, I think sometimes when we have people that we look up to, uh, it's obviously very easy to put somebody on a pedestal. And when we put somebody on a pedestal, we tend to um, worship them, and we may ignore some things which we wouldn't ignore in another guru. And I think that that is something we need to analyze as a community. That we do have to hold people accountable. We do need to hold them um, accountable to the actions and the words that they say, and their behavior and their ethics. All that needs to be considered, and all that, you should be able to judge a guru um, in that light if you feel that they're not really being the teaching that they talk about, or they're not representing those teachings very well. So um yeah, so that's really it. I'm surprised. So did I need to advertise my lives a lot more, I think. I don't I don't advertise them enough. Um I don't do a good job. Recently, I've been pretty lazy as well in terms of doing promotional videos or short clips for the podcast. Um, I do need to work on that and improve and probably share more, you know. But yeah, if you have any questions, do ask. And, you know, it's your platform. There's a few other things that I'm thinking about doing, but what I might do is go live on TikTok as well because I haven't been live on TikTok in a while. Maybe I should do that, and that would be quite interesting to do. And let me do that. Um, Let me see. And then what we'll do that. We'll go live on TikTok. There we go. Yeah, let's do that. And let me just set it up. I'm just going to set my phone and we'll start chatting. Okay, so I'm live on TikTok too, which is good. Um, Let me get this set up. So yeah, if you're on TikTok, ask me questions. Ask me any questions you have, and then that will be great. Right. So yes. So if you're watching me on TikTok, do ask me questions. More than happy to answer them. So yeah, or you can join me on YouTube and you can write in the chat there. But yeah, I haven't been live in a long time, so it's nice to be live. I haven't utilized TikTok at all. Only when I tend to have um, what's it called? A podcast released, I tend to upload on then. So I'm going to improve on that. I think I'm gonna start creating my little clips. When asked what guru led you to realization, you had an answer, but Sami Vada said you did not um, claim to have realization. What's the truth? Um, yeah, I do not claim to have realization. I Ben, yeah. So I don't claim to have realization. I've always and like I said, and I always say this that even if I did have realization, I'm not going to tell anyone. I don't think it's anybody's business. I don't think people need to know. Um, and in the end, it's about my actions that I do. So if I'm spreading good vibes and good positive messages and spiritual messages which help people, then I think that's good enough. I don't need to claim to be realized or enlightened to do so. Um, and yes, I wouldn't say my and yes, I have a guru, and my guru has helped me in many ways, not just in my spiritual journey, but also in my day-to-day life. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Ben. Yeah, I just don't claim to have any. I don't like making claims that there's enough people out there that claim things and claim that they have all the answers and they claim that they are realized beings. Thank you for the like on YouTube. But those people, like, what does it bring? Like, if you claim that you're realized, if you claim that you're enlightened, like, what difference does that make? I mean, I don't know. Um, and it comes with a lot of baggage. Um, so yeah, um, I don't claim to have realization. In fact, I would say that anybody that claims to have realization, I would ask, who is it that is saying this? Because is it your ego, or is it because if you've truly realized this true being, you wouldn't have to say so. Um, yeah, I think it's very egoic whenever someone says, "Oh, I'm enlightened," or "No worries, Ben." But yeah, enjoy work. But I appreciate your question though. Yeah, it's an easy answer for me. But yeah, if on TikTok, if you or YouTube, if you have any questions about non-duality, about Hinduism, I'm more than happy to answer those questions. You can ask me anything really. I may say I don't know, so um, I don't claim to be all knowing. Those that claim to be all knowing, you can go and ask them and test them. But yeah, it's but yeah, if you're on TikTok, I mean, I really would appreciate if you go into YouTube, join me there, subscribe to my channel. The link is in my bio, so you can see it there. And yeah, I do reactions sometimes, reaction videos, like live reaction videos, on YouTube, so you can always be notified on that. If you're watching it on YouTube, make sure you press the notification button, so you get notified whenever I'm live or whenever I upload something. Um, so yeah, do that and yeah, like this video. So yeah, I do that a lot. I but yeah, I'm gonna start uploading a bit more content in terms of clips on TikTok again. I stopped doing it, but I'm gonna start doing that again. Um, and yeah, but yeah, these are chill sessions. I don't plan on these ones. I tend to just answer questions and allow you to get to know me more. Um, Sometimes it's nice to know the person behind the the podcast mic, so to speak. It's to go beyond the appearance. Sometimes it's pretty nice. But yeah, so I do quite a few reaction videos. They're pretty good. Um, I really enjoy doing those. Those are always good fun. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer them. And yeah, I mean, I tell you first thing, why I think non-duality is so important. In fact, I will say that I believe in more of a integral non-duality. So, for example, yes, it's okay to understand that Brahman is separate to you, and well, sorry, that Brahman is the only thing in existence. But what's more important, in my opinion, is when you start seeing existence as when you start seeing Brahman in existence. So seeing the whole multiplicity as that one. I think that then allows us to do more karma yoga. So we look to help other people. We look to serve other people with love, with respect, with generosity. We become more altruistic, which I think is really important. One book that has really helped me recently to think differently, to it's really transformed the way I now see the world, is a book called What We Owe the Future by William McCaskill. Um, I did do a story about it yesterday, maybe. But yeah, that book really changed the way I view things and what I want to invest, not only like where to invest my resources. It's got me thinking about um, the book that I was planning to write on Advaita Vedanta. Thank you for the like on YouTube. Um, and I was planning to write a book on Advaita Vedanta this year. That got delayed by other things. But what's also happened now, I've started thinking about how to make an integral non-duality. So, um, how to get non-duality from, because I see things sometimes from an atheistic, agnostic point of view. But like I always mention, my heart is sometimes of a devotee. Um, so yeah, the talking about the integral Advaita or integral non-duality is high on my list, and then and how that has a long-term vision. So the vision is not just for the next couple of generations; it's literally for infinity, and that's the way I want to see it. Um, Martin, you say you should write a book on ego advaita. Well, there is going to be that will be a chapter I will write on it for sure. Like the pitfalls of um, pseudo non-duality. I think that has to be in there because, see, with pseudo non-duality, it is very short term. And subtitle would be "Don't look left or right when crossing the road." Yeah, that's exactly of something I would consider. Yeah. um, yeah, with ego advaita, um, I will be writing about that in the book. So yeah, so that book probably won't be released till next year or maybe the year after. It'll take me some time, but I do want to pen my thoughts about what I think our vision should be, and not only one as a Hindu, but also as a non-dualist, and why being spiritual has a long-term impact, and how we can actually um, kind of how we can live a life that is one altruistic and ethical and caring about the environment, thinking about the future generations and what message we leave them with. And so yeah, so when I see these YouTubers of these pseudo non-dualists who talk about this radical message or whatever, radical, it's not really radical. Whenever they do that, I'm really big on making sure I create more content that counteracts what they say and what they do. Um, and that's been my focus now. Namaste G, Sami Vada, nice to see you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the likes. Really appreciate it. Um, so yeah, so that's what I've been concentrating a lot on, is giving the right perspective on Advaita Vedanta. And um, oh, nice. Well, congratulations on the new job. Um, and yeah, it's good that you get to tune in live. I do try to. I know that my lord, yes sir, was on live on TikTok earlier today. I wasn't able um uh to watch it, but I came onto your live very late last night, um, Sammy. But hopefully next time I'll get to. I do need to kind of join your live, so definitely want to do that next time. Um, but yeah, you can ask me any question about non-duality or Hinduism or anything about my personal life. This is your chance to get to know me, the person behind the podcast, the person behind the reaction videos. Although really it's the same person. I mean, I'm actually not different at all. But I'm just gonna say, um, it can be informal. It's not so formal. Like with the podcast and the reaction videos, it can be rather formal, but this is kind of just me chilling on a Friday. I don't exist. I know I don't exist. Um, Nothing exists. This isn't really happening, people. This video, this live is not really happening. It's all an illusion. Don't fall into the trap of thinking this is true. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Um, Thor I like your name, Thor. Um, What do you mean when you say we are already enlightened? I don't say that. But I do say that as well. You are right, Dorian. I do say that. When I say that we're already enlightened, what I mean by that is the real you that you are, which is this Nirgun Brahman, that is already perfect. That's already complete. Uh, that doesn't require anything else. That's if you really understand your true nature. But we all are not there. Yeah, for a lot of us, we have to integrate that wisdom into our day to day life. So, what we have to do is work on removing this false sense of identity that we call the ego. It's not saying get rid of the ego. What I say is what you understand is you guide your ego to truly understand who you really are. And so when I say we are already enlightened, that's what I mean. But the caveat is we are living in a relative reality. We live in a transactional reality. So in this transactional reality, it may be that I am not enlightened and I um, get need to go towards enlightenment. So that is something I have to work on. So um, yes, the background awareness of me and everybody is already enlightened. You are already Satchit Ananda. You cannot escape that. But it may take the forefront, the mind, time to really understand that. So that's all I mean. Um, and exactly what Martin said. Actually, Martin said it much better than I did. You are enlightened. Only your ego eclipses the recognition of it. Exactly. It's only a recognition. Like, don't think enlightenment is this thing um, where like there's gonna be fireworks and suddenly like you find the whole world is one. That may not be the case. It may be that it is really slow and steady, and you start finding that the true self that you are starts to integrate itself into the world, and then slowly but surely you then see the oneness of it all. So it will take time. Don't think I actually say for majority of us, for 99% of us, it's a slow realization. And I would say it's good that it's slow because slow and steady wins the race. I think anyone that has like a big burst of energy and they have that um, awakening, what can happen there is you may stop and you don't allow the integration to happen. So, but yeah, we already have everything we are seeking for. Jay, are you? I do. We do. But the thing is, do you recognize this? And This was something said on TikTok. Jay said we already have everything we are seeking for. True, but for example, you do not know A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever the alphabet before you learn about it. You have to discover it. Um, so in a way, you do have to know what you are seeking first in order to then get. So we start with duality, but we go to non-duality. That's the complete understanding. A lot of people think that we go you just bypass duality and just go straight to non-duality. That's not good. Even if you go straight to non-duality, you have to come back into the world of duality. For example, for me to do this on a experiential level, this live, there has to be a duality. There's a me here and there's a you watching this on your screen. There's a you typing in the chat. There's a me answering the question or asking a question. So there is duality that is in play. So in my opinion, it's about understanding in the duality that there is non-duality there. There is a oneness there. So that's how you I believe in a more integral approach. I've actually changed the way I view I now think that the traditional Advaita goes a long way, but not all the way. I think all the way is where we then bring in fact, actually, Adi Shankara ji does bring an integrated view. So, first he says, uh, there is only Brahman, Brahman only is. This world doesn't exist is a second part. Then he says, or Maya doesn't, the whole world is Maya, it's an illusion, it doesn't exist. Then he comes back and says, Brahman is Maya. So, um, if you think about it, even he brings an integrated thing, but not everyone talks about that. A lot of the gurus and a lot of the traditional Advaitins, they don't think about the last bit of the integration, because if you don't have the integration, you can't function in the world, frankly speaking. So, um, yes, exactly, not two. So Advaita means not two; it's oneness. Um, so I think recognize what the ego is. Yes. So um, again, recognizing what the ego is very simple. The ego is simply the veil that tells you that you're the body and mind only, and thinks that the body and mind is the only existence. So it's not the ego's fault, but that's what happens. Because if you think about it, your first experience is pangs of hunger, tiredness when you're a baby. You automatically are in the body. And then after that, you get into the whole mind game. So when you feel hungry, you start saying, well, you get angry about it, or you have a desire to watch a TV show. When I was younger, I wanted to watch Power Rangers or um, Ninja Turtles. So, and you get happy when you watch that. You want to, play when you're a kid. All that is in the mind. And then, the enjoyment. So our existence is first built in the mind and body. It's only when we realize, and it's normally through tragedy, when we see death, that we say, this can't, if the end is just going to be, I'm going to die, what is the purpose? Um, So I think that's what we need to do, um, is understand that really the ego is just a false sense of identity. We identify with only the body and mind, but the actual understanding is you transform the ego to go from you're not just a body and mind, but you are this consciousness, this awareness as well that contains this body and mind. You are the awareness of the body and mind. When the mind has a thought, you are aware of it. When you get hurt or when you have pleasure also with the body, you are aware of that pleasure or that pain. So that's what we do. Um, So yeah, I want to make a TikTok that contrasts this perspective, which is scientific, as opposed to the fallen state of Christianity. Bro, I love when you do TikTok videos. They're amazing. Go ahead and do it. Um, it's always great when you do that. So I've had someone ask a question on YouTube. Could you give your take on caste or varna? Should it be discarded? Yes, there's no need for the caste system as it is. I do believe that it's important to let someone do what they are naturally talented for, or they have the inherent abilities. I do not believe in the current capitalist system that you must define yourself with the jobs that they think is beneficial for society. Who tells me that an artist isn't as important, or a writer, or someone who creates TikTok videos? They're just as important. And so I think the Varna system, which is the one that is based on your inherent talent and abilities, should come back in, but in a more egalitarian way, in a more kind of uh, an all embracing way. So, but the way the caste system is today, in terms of, well, you're this caste, so you're lower than me, or you're higher than me, so I'm going to follow what you say, uh, where there's an inferiority or superiority complex in the caste, I completely think that should be discarded. Anybody that looks to take advantage of the particular caste systems to, or a caste, to get votes, I think that is completely wrong and disgusting. Politicians in India do that all the time, and I'm completely against that too. I think that takes advantage of, and also it's not who you are. You know, at the end of the day, um, I'm doing what a Brahmin does anyway, which is reading the scriptures. So what is different? Um, uh, there are people who are businessmen, the Kshatriya caste. I mean, for example, I'm not a warrior, and if I wouldn't even go to war. Forget about like um being a warrior. I mean, I wouldn't even go to war today. I often think, if thank God I was born in this generation and not World War II, because I can't see myself fighting. But the caste that I am is a Kshatriya caste, the warrior caste. So definitely should be discarded. It's not. It's irrelevant today. Um. So yes, we are all Atma and thus Brahman. Yes, in fact, ever since I've read the Bhagavad Gita, it's made me understand how um even the Christianized version has come into our understanding. Sometimes when we say Atma, we think souls, that we have many souls. There's no many souls. The Atma is just one, and that is Brahman. Um, so yeah, that's just, uh, yeah, Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles were my favorite too. Identified with Michelangelo. Yeah, same here, man. I love Michelangelo. He was my favorite too. Um, so, is the idea of caste contradict the concept of illusion ego? Explain what you mean, Thorjon. What you mean by that? Um, but yeah, anyone that's just joined, if you've not read What We Owe the Future, I recommend it completely. That book is phenomenal. It's a really, no, again, with any book I don't agree with some things 100%, but this was a book I agreed with on 95%, which is pretty high in my day and age. Well, my in my mind. So yeah, if you've just joined this on YouTube, you can ask me anything, and I will answer any question about Hinduism or non-duality. Also, if you can like this as well, that'd be great. I really appreciate it. I'm also live on TikTok, so I'm looking at both comments and responding. Um, so yes, Ambedkar says in Riddles of Hinduism that the doctrine of Brahma being Tattvam Asi is strongest theological basis for democracy. I agree actually with that. If you see everyone as yourself and you see everyone as okay, even on a bhakti perspective, say you see everything as divine, you'll treat things a lot better. You will treat the environment a lot better. You'll treat people a lot better. You'll treat people with more love, with more compassion. Um, you'll be more altruistic. You'll be doing seva bhav. That will be within you. When you meditate, it'll be the feeling of love that goes along with it. It's not something dry where you have to think about having a blank mind. You know, things like that. So I think that's really important. So caste is part of the ego. It's a label. Yes, I would say it's very much an egoic thing. Definitely part of the ego today. Like people think that if they are a particular caste, they're better or worse, and that's ego. Even if you have this inferiority complex, that's ego still. Sir Gurren, namaste G to you. Do you agree that reserved seats for lower castes in India should be removed? Yes. Or get void, as nowadays everyone is considered equal. I said yes, but I'm actually going to take that back. I do think there needs to be proper representation. So I do think certain reserved seats should be for lower caste because not everyone is going to see each person as equal. There's still people who have this. Who who are still divisive and would like to put people in their place and stuff like that. So I think right now, I would say it's too early to get rid of the reserved seats, or um, I forgot the word, but there's certain categories which I think should be protected. So I do think the lower castes should be protected right now, until India truly transforms the caste system in terms of understanding, which will not be for another um, thousands of years, I think, because it's so ingrained in people. So yeah, not everyone is considered equal, in my opinion. Even in India, they may claim so, but there isn't. Um, but yeah, everyone should get opportunities on the basis of their knowledge and not the basis of their caste. Personally, I think they shouldn't include name, uh, or I don't believe people should put their names on resumes. I think it should, or even address. Um, I think the people do need to look into that, where you can't, like, for example, I could put my resume forward, and because my name's Rahul Singh, I can be judged for that. But if, say, my name was John Smith, I probably would get the job or get an interview. So, um, so yeah, so there is that bias. It does exist, and that's why I've said that maybe right now it's important to have reserved seats for lower caste systems in India. I think it's important. Um, so yes, um, you're welcome, dining room. Nice to see you. Thank you for the rose. Thank you for the likes. Um, and thank you for the likes on YouTube. Um, and aren't we supposed to see the ego is not real? Um, the ego doesn't have any strong base. It's not the foundation of existence, but we do have an ego. We still will have an ego, even nobody transcends the ego, like where the ego is completely transcended. You still need, for example, the ego tells you that you're a separate body and mind. You kind of need that to function in the world. So use the ego as a function, not as an identity. So that's what happens, Dorian. That's the better way of explaining it, because a lot of people think, because of the way certain sages or masters in the past have talked about getting rid of the ego, it's unrealistic. Nobody can get rid of the ego. Even they couldn't. You know, if you shortchange them in a restaurant, they'll be really annoyed with you. Or if you put a tip, like a gratuity payment on there, or a service fee without their approval, watch how angry they get. Um, so yeah, trust me, nobody transcends the ego. It's what happens is they get rid of the identification and they use the ego as a function when necessary. So that's the to um best way to present that. Thank you again for the likes. Um, yeah, well, I agree with that. Some people still get discriminated on the basis of caste. They use their caste name as an abusive word. Yeah, I mean, it or people um, use a caste name as an abusive word. So yeah, I'm against the caste system, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that the lower caste should not be protected. I think they should be. Same with minority religions in India, like um, or minority religion in any country. I think they should be protected. So I disagree with Modi's uh, policies and his messaging um, of his party. He may claim to be pure and whatever, but I disagree with that as well. Um, you have to protect the Sikh community, the Buddhist community, the uh, uh, Muslim community, the Jain community, the atheist community. They should all be protected. I think that's really important that we do that. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you. I think that's very important to do. Um, and then in this country, in America, where I am, or in England, where I used to be from, if you're a Hindu or a Sikh or Jain or Buddhist or atheist or agnostic um, or Sikh or Sikhi, you need to be protected as a minority, because being Christian is the majority. And I look back on my own life and I look at how uh, it was indoctrination when I was a kid. They read the Bible, and I remember just one assembly, just one, where it was about Sikhi. I don't, and then one about Diwali, and that was it. Um, that's the only time there was ever an introduction of um, another religion, and that was one assembly in my from year so 7 years. In 7 years, just one morning, 30 minutes of an assembly was based on you know either Guru Nanak Dev Ji and then Diwali. That was it. The rest of the time, I could tell you, each for those 7 years, they had read the Genesis, then the New Testament. Every morning we had to sing hymns to Jesus. I'm not against that. That's cool. It's fine. But I but when but it was hard. It was difficult for me because what they were teaching was this God that was up there, and then um on Sundays when I used to go to the temple, we used to listen to God being formless. So it was like it created so much confusion, and which eventually causes trauma, regardless of what people say. It does. And then I went through I wouldn't have had to go through the atheist phase if I didn't have that confusing Christian teaching as a young kid. Um, but I guess I wouldn't be able to talk about it now um, if I didn't go through that. So in a way, I do appreciate that I went through that. So pretty happy about that as well. So and it did allow me to understand the Abrahamic perspective a little and why I disagree with it. So that was good. Um, Also, Rahul wanted some brainstorming on a topic. If you want to talk about, yeah, go ahead. Any topic. Did we all go through an atheist phase? It must be. I mean, everyone I know has gone through it. Like anyone that's really gone deeper into spirituality, and has gone through, and then has come across non-duality or Advaita. Um, I I completely think atheism helped us in that. So Uh, but yeah, we all did dining room. We all did. I wanted to see your take on cremation. I'm fully on board for cremation. I don't have anything wrong. Like I don't see anything wrong with burial either. Um, Although from an environmental point of view, um, you know, I don't know whether burial is something we need to do today, and it's a waste of resources if you think about it. Like creating a wooden box to then be put into the ground, and that ground is taken up, where that can be utilized for social housing or something like that. That's a government's thought like that. Obviously, they don't, and that's the problem. But yeah, I think cremation is important. And one actually, Manu Light did a great video on this, on why Hindus or dharmic religions do cremations majority of the time. Obviously, some sages were buried, um, and the reason why they were buried was because they had already disassociated themselves from the body. So what Manu says in the video, which is a really good video on TikTok, he said that basically the reason why we get cremated is so that the jeev, if we've not realized, doesn't get attached to the body. So for example, say if I die without realizing that I am the if I still think I'm the body and I don't identify completely as Rahul, if I don't get cremated straight away or within a week, say, because things take time, um, I will be attached to my body still. I will not be able to go through the process of reincarnation. So the reason for cremation is the quickest way to get rid of the identification to the body. So therefore you realize straight away, I'm not this body. I need to look for another form, another incarnation. Um, and also in terms of the why I think cremation is also interesting is one, you turn to ashes, so it's like dust, literally. I think that's so amazing that you actually go back into the onto the earth through that, or you enter the seabed if you choose to spread your ashes in the river. The other aspect is smoke, dua from the in a way, it's a real sacrifice as well. It's like a oven to yourself when you're being cremated. Your body is used as fuel, as fuel to the gods, towards the earth, for Bhumilok. So with the with the smoke as well, you're entering the atmosphere and entering the universe as a whole. Your atoms are being spread across everywhere. So I think so yeah, for me, I think that's why I really like cremation, and why I will get cremated. Um, and the one thing that I would like to do differently is basically when I do get cremated, I would like my ashes to be placed under a sapling of a tree. So a tree gets built, gets um, kind of grown in that place. Um, so yeah, my wish is to be cremated, and I would like for my ashes to be the earth, to be part of the soil that enhances the growth of a tree. That way, I'm helping the environment too. Um, so yeah, that's what I would like to do. But yeah, so I'm completely for cremation. It makes the most sense for me. Um, while like reason why I think burial is so weird as well, like or like some people, what do they do? They do that thing where they embalm themselves so that hopefully they can be woken up. I think even there, like I don't know if I would like to come back in the same form if I choose to come back. Um, I don't know whether I would like that, you know. Um, so yeah, I would just like to just, yeah, be gone with the body. And I'm not the body, so why should that remain, as well? If we say we're not the body, get the quickest way to get rid of it is cremation. Yeah, it's super bad for the environment too. Like, one, I guess we need a coffin regardless whether you get cremated or buried. Um, but yeah, I think we should look towards more sustainability. Um, yeah, yeah. Oh, Sammy, that's actually an amazing perspective. Like, it is a form of idol worshiping. Think about it. You go to the gravestone and you're always like kind of talking to the gravestone, and you're always and think about it realistically. How many people have gone to their forefathers' gravestone today? Like, think about it. How many people have gone to their great 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 granddads or grandparents' gravestone? Like, why do we do this when we're not even going to be remembered for that long as well? So I don't know any of my friends that went to go and see their great grandparents' grave. To be honest, if you know anyone that has, let me know. But I've never seen anyone do that. Um, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji critiques burial, saying the gravestone degrades into clay and made into pottery. Aurangzeb wanted the verse changed from fact. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Oh, hi, Buddha. I need to follow you. If I'm not, and I need to get you on my podcast. So I'm going to be in touch with you because um, Sammy has spoken very highly of you. So, so yeah, I'm going to definitely get you on. Um, so yeah, uh, I will follow you back for sure. Uh, so yeah, um, so yeah, Sammy, I need to get our conversation published. So um, actually, not everyone knows, but so I had COVID last week, so because of that, um, I wasn't able to one record an episode of my podcast, and two, I couldn't even look at a screen without crying. Like, for some reason, like, my eyes just kept watering, and I just could not focus at all. Um, so yeah, because of that, I couldn't even edit anything until I think my fifth day um into the um virus, and even now, I mean, I still feel like today I felt really tired, and I'm not breathing as normal as I would. So yeah, if you can save yourself from COVID, save yourself from it. It's horrible. Yeah. So where last week I was meant to go through the whole episode, but I think I've gone through half of it now. So I just got another half to go through um, and edit it. So what I tend to do with the editing, just to let you know, is I get rid of the some of the sounds that come in. So sometimes, when our mouth makes sounds and we don't even know when we're recording that's happening. So um, yes, so for me, it's really big that whenever someone listens to the podcast, um, they don't hear those things as much. Some things uh, you can't help, but yeah. So um, but yeah, but I will definitely speak to you. We'll definitely be in touch, and we'll get you on. Yeah, I've got a few good, interesting conversations. So already from people on TikTok. I've got Sammy. I've spoken to um, Takurji. I've spoken to Manulite. Trying to think if there's anyone else. I felt like there was someone else on Tik. Oh, Yam Socks. Um, Spoke to him. Trying to get Nish on. Nish has been busy. He's been traveling, so um, but yeah, there's a few people. So um, it's always great because what I find with these conversations, like when I spoke to Sammy, is I get to learn different things, and even when I share my perspective, I'm refining what I'm saying, and it refines what I think and my philosophy and what I want people to uh, leave with. So I've had some interesting ones with other random people where I've had like strong disagreements, and that's going to be interesting. And then some people like I don't warm up to them in the beginning. Like these are none of the TikTok people, by the way. These are people who I don't know who are trying to promote something. Um, it's interesting. Like sometimes you don't connect with them, and then they and then you connect with them right at the end. Um, or they're like kind of disrespectful and be like, "Oh yeah, I've got to take my dog out," and then I'm like, "Bro, we're recording an episode. What you doing?" Like, so there's things like that where I have to like think, no, 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 that's not cool. Um, One person I disagreed with on COVID. Um, this person believes that if you tap, you get rid of things, get rid of problems. And at the end of it, she like said that I was frustrated. I said I'm not frustrated or angry. I'm I don't know if I said I was frustrated, but like it's my compassion that so what she said was, well, in Sweden they didn't have any restrictions, and I said, you know, so many people died, and as a result, those were grandparents of people, and that could have been lives that were saved. And she was like, well, maybe they were meant to die, and I was like, oh no, like you can't claim to be compassionate and say that shit, in my opinion. And but it's also good to have disagreements. But I mean, at the end of the day, we still had a great conversation. But it shows also, um, I still want to show in these conversations that you may have bigoted views, and I may show that, and people may not like that. But yeah, I will push back if I need to, or sometimes I don't, depending. But but yeah, when that was said, I was really annoyed. Empirical skepticism. I might have to get you to talk about that on my podcast. Um, um, Wait, when you say empirical skepticism, are you talking about experiential, being skeptic on a experiential level? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what that means because I don't want to comment on something I don't fully understand. Um, but yeah, if you can tell me in one line what it means, may be difficult to do. Totally understand, but I can give you my initial position. Um, but let me tell you, what I say today um, can change tomorrow. So don't hold me. Well, there's certain things I will never change on, but on some things I would change, and I would say I've changed my position on this. It used to be this. The scientific lenses of reality via skepticism. Is that like the more materialist understanding, like kind of like the materialist approach to reality? Is that what you mean? If that's the case, I don't agree with that take. I probably, from a philosophical point of view, I'm more on the lines of Bernardo Castrup and what he says as basically the consciousness only model. Um, But let me say that I think in the beginning of any spiritual person's journey, they need to be a skeptic. Don't even believe your own experiences initially. You must question them. You must question whether, see, for example, if you have a true spiritual experience, it should be repeated. You should be, you may not get the same quality, but you be able to quantify the experience. So, for example, let me use Swami Vivekananda as an example. He always used to go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It was something he could measure and say, I did this. It was quantifiable and people were able to witness it. He was able to recall it. Same with his guru as well. I think that you need to do that. Don't just have one experience. Like a lot of these pseudo non-dualists, they have one awakening and they say that's true. No, you should be skeptical about it. Um, so you don't have to hold the physicalist position if you adhere to empirical skepticism. Okay, interesting. But I'm going to get you to talk more about it on my podcast, so I can fully absorb what it means and also then address it completely. Um, but yeah, I think just generally in spirituality, it's good to be a skeptic. It's good to question even theology or philosophy or any of the ideas that you may believe in. You should put them under the microscope, completely rip them apart, and bring them back together. I think that holds, then you know that you have a strong foundation for what you're following or what you believe in or how you view the world. Otherwise, if we are simply just going to believe, I know I find that that's when we do stuff like that, it's very immature. I hope that makes sense. Um, but yeah, I say be a skeptic with your own spirituality. Right, a question on YouTube. Is there a respectful way to critique other religions? Yeah, you just don't just be nice. Um, critique them. You can say that like, for example, I don't believe there's a heaven. So I will say there's no heaven, and that's because I do not see a physical location for this heaven. And if you say that one cannot see it with these eyes, then tell me um, how do people like Jesus say there is a heaven? So I do believe one can do it respectfully. One doesn't have to, um, you know, uh, one doesn't have to be rude in critiquing other religions. I don't. I disagree with the whole notion of the reason why I disagree with the notion of heaven is because I find that the concept is basically what you need to abstain from in this life you can do in heaven. Why? Why not abstain from it in heaven too? Or why not enjoy it now if you can enjoy it in heaven? Like, what's the point? At least with this life, you know it's true and it's real for you. So, but bye, Buddha. Yep, we'll keep in touch. Nice to see you. So yeah, there's no evidence of heaven, and yeah, it does make spirituality absolutely transactional. So you only are gonna do good things just so you can go in heaven. Like that's seeking a reward. That's gambling as well. Um, there's no need to do that. Prayer lacks sincerity when you believe there's a heaven as a reward. I completely agree with that. One, I tell you what, I agree with it 110%. Um, I believe in what you've just said. I follow it. I completely adhere to it. A prayer should be just for the sake of understanding your true nature. That for me is prayer. Or say there is in the beginning a duality. Why not praise that one that you're worshipping? Why not talk about the attributes of that one instead of looking for the mundane desires that you have in this name and form? Uh, I think I think that's really important to do. Um, but yeah, but there's a respectful way. You just don't have to be. You just don't have to like mock someone. Um, you don't have to make a joke out of their prophet um, or their messiah or how they were born. Um, you can put it under. You can be serious. Like if someone turns around to me and says that Jesus was born from a virgin, I will disagree with that. I can do it respectfully without, saying, "Oh, that's so stupid." I don't have to say that, you know. I can just say why I disagree with it. Um, yeah. And let me say, if you're willing to critique other religions, make sure you critique the one that you believe in too before you critique other religions. Because say you critique another religion and they come back to critique yours, you should have answers to why you believe in what you believe in. So, um, in my opinion, at least critique your own religion first or your own beliefs. Facts, whatever critique you make also has to apply to yours. Yeah, absolutely. Must. Um, like I said today, I completely agree with traditional Advaita, but I see um, I prefer now looking at it, I prefer Swami Vivekananda's more integral Advaita. Um, I believe the evolution of that was correct with him. I don't believe that we should consider the world as just an illusion, and therefore, because what can happen there is we can stop caring about it. Um, so yeah. Okay, with that said, how do you view karma? Karma to me makes okay, so karma is in past deeds. What I love about Hinduism is that it doesn't just see karma as whatever you do in this life, that's what you have to just respond to. It can be the residues of your previous life too. Um, right now, I'm not completely sold on reincarnation, scientifically speaking, but I do believe in it as a belief system. Reincarnation makes sense to me, like when I look back at some of the habits I have, like that, like nobody in my family has some of the same habits that I have. So, um, so for me, that makes sense. So I don't need a scientific evidence for that. But if there's scientific evidence to go against that, I will go with science. Um, that may not be a popular view, but it is for me. Now with Gurma, I do believe there is certain things happen in your life which have no place in this existence now in this life. So for example, um let me use my own spirituality as an example of karma, which is this is going to be interesting. So I believe it was my previous life's karma that I got my guru, but there was a little bit of karma that had to be done in my life before that. So when I was a young kid, for 2 years, I used to worship Shivji. Um, in my first 2 years, this is what my dad tells me. Um, Even though he's not my biological father, my mom and dad married um, when I was just shy of 2 years old. So prior to that, my mom single-handedly brought me up with my nanaji, and I used to worship Shivji. Now, when my mom got married to my dad, um, look at the whole thing. This is how amazing it is. I'm sharing my history with you. Is that so? She gets married to. I call him my dad because he brought me up, even though he's not my biological father. But I treat him as my biological father, and I love him so much. Um, he, his best friend, his childhood friend, is the guru that will end up initiating me. So look at that. For me, only Goma can explain that because I must have exhausted my worship of Shivji, that Shivji gave me a boon to get me to actually go to a guru that teaches about the formless, that gives the knowledge of directly perceiving the formless straight away. Like that for me implies that there is something as karma. And so yeah, and look at this. So the reason why I say it's even more amazing is my guru had many followers, but because of my dad's friendship with him, I was able to have a personal relationship with him where a lot of people weren't able to. So I got to have that personal tutelage, which wasn't accessible for everyone. That again, like I could have had a totally different life, a totally different life. I could have been doing Murti Puja for the whole of my life. I could have actually turned my life. I personally believe because of where I lived, my life would have been completely different. Looking at the area in which I lived in, I could have easily turned to drugs and like my life could have been totally different. Um, but that one wonderful act of my mom and dad marrying changed the direction of my life. So yeah, I hope that's I know that it probably answers Goma in a really indirect way, but you know, it that is the only explanation I have for the journey that I have now. So um and yeah, and I've also seen the results of even though you help people selflessly, you also see the results of that in this life as well. You see the very same people help you, or other strangers just helping you. Like, for example, um, is it not karma that I know you, Sammy? Like, I feel like I know you, I've known you for ages. Like, I feel like my relationship with you has been for a very long time, not just this 1 year in which I've joined you TikTok and done this type of stuff. Um, like certain people, I find I've known them for a long, long time. So yeah. So for me, Gunma has a part, and for example, even like certain ailments that I have had, um, I feel that's my Gunma exhausting any previous things. But yeah, but at the same time, I'll go back to Adi Shankaraji's Guru's Guru, Godapada. There's no karma either. And and you can even transcend that understanding that actually um in the grand scheme of things, You don't. There's no karma, no reincarnation, no liberation. Um, there's none. There's only this purnam, and karma would imply that there is a lack of purnam, a lack of fullness, of completeness. But there is only completeness. There is only purnam. So, hope that answered it, bro. But a really wonderful question. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't believe in this whole. So there was a video of Sadhguru's where he talked about this is 18. So if you're under 18, get permission from your parents if you can listen to the word sex. Um, but jokes aside, um, Sadhguru said that basically if you have casual sex with people, you download their genetic makeup type of thing. He said something on that level. I disagree with that. Like basically you download their karma as well if you have sex with them. No, you don't. The act of sex will have karma. Um, but someone can end up becoming pregnant or whatever. Um, but yeah, like you will not download someone's karma. Like you will not be downloading any of their parabdha karma or anything they've done in their previous lives. You're not gonna get that. Like, come on. He is a grade A pseudo intellectual, completely. So yeah, I don't believe in that either. So yeah, so I think just and also another thing is uh with karma, the one thing that I will say, and it's a bit of a warning, that make sure you're always aware of the choice you make in terms of action. Make sure that whatever action you do causes the least amount of harm in existence to the people around you, to your own self. Make sure it's the path of least harm, the action of least harm. There is no way that even the most purest of action will have a negative reaction somewhere. But whatever can reduce that, the better. So, um, yeah, that's one thing I will say. Um, so Sadhguru really says dangerous things that aren't in scripture. It's just his random opinion. Yes, uh, Tiny who's channeling it from some dimension or another. Yeah, he loves the word dimension a lot. Um, yeah, in my opinion, yeah, Sadhguru does that a lot where he doesn't see anyone that turns around and says they don't follow any scripture or they haven't read any scripture and then they claim to have authority. I would say do not believe that person because uh, the vastness that's contained in the scriptures, you will find something that should back up what you say. Because there's always contradictions in scripture, always. Because unfortunately or fortunately, reality is complementary of the pair of opposites. So, and our scriptures, because they're complete, they will have that in them. So if you're smart, you will find it. Which is why Osho was more smarter than Sadhguru, because Osho read the scriptures, therefore could find a rational, could find a reasoning behind the things that he said. So I do believe that anyone that claims that they haven't read a scripture and therefore whatever they say is based on their own experience because uh, went on a hill and apparently they were able to um, connect with the whole of life, and as Sadhguru says, life and life and life, um, is BS, total BS. Um, or at the very least, a logical rationale to back it up. Yes, yeah, okay, yeah. Saved is no scripture. Saved is not in the scripture. Basic logic and rationality should be applied. Um, if your laugh can't contain logical rationality, then what's the? I mean, what I will say is, he's created a nice foundation behind his work. That will be a good legacy that he will have. But unfortunately, like I've done with his videos when I've done reactions to it on YouTube, um, he he says things and they make zero sense, and it's it's frustrating. And a lot of people follow him. A lot of my friends who are very smart, they follow him too. Um, like I said, nobody's completely bad, um, but is he a genuine guru? I would say no. He's not genuine. I did this. I can. This was actually by like kind of. It was spontaneous how I decided I was going to look at two videos tackling the same, or like two people tackling the same topic. So I did it. So in that reaction video, uh, I looked at Sri Sri Ravi Shankarji and Sadhguru. And actually, I looked at two Sadhguru videos. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar was more honest and gave a better answer, and actually answered. Um, oh yeah, thank you for the sunglasses. So yeah, he did a better job at answering than Sadhguru. Sadhguru just he didn't even answer the question, which was really frustrating. If someone can't answer a question directly, don't believe in them. Or like for example, I wasn't able to answer Buddha's question completely, and I mentioned that. Sadhguru never does that. He has to pretend that he knows everything, and therefore his answer's complete. That's wrong. That's not right. Um, yeah. So right, I'm gonna be on for another 3 minutes. Then I'm gonna take your leave. So um, I'm gonna then relax for a bit and probably um just I need to do a lot of I need to upload um my podcast and do all my work for that. But yeah, it was a really good chat. I really enjoyed this. I like these non-duality and chill sessions. Yeah, I will do, bro. I'm gonna try and come on to your live. Let me know when you um come on live again. I know you do share it with me, so uh whenever I can, I will. What's your favorite scripture or commentary to recommend? Um, so in terms of commentaries, I do like um Osho's commentaries on scriptures. 7 my time. Okay, I'll come on at that time. I'll come on. Um, so I like uh I like Osho's commentaries on things. Even Chinmayanandaji's commentaries. I like different people's. I wouldn't say there's one that I particularly like, but in terms of scriptures, you can't go wrong with the Bhagavad Gita. Definitely read Lao Tzu's uh, Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. I think that's a really important text. Um, but any of the works of Swami Vivekananda is really great. If there's one person you must listen to in terms of Vedanta, Swami Sarvapriyananda. I love him so much. He is um, an enigma. And the reason why I recommend Swami Severa, there's two reasons. One, he he obviously gives things from the point of view of a non-dualist, which is really good. But the second reason is that because he studies as an interest consciousness studies, and therefore, he's in the know about everything that's discussed in Harvard and in Stanford. He even did a residency in Harvard as well, in Harvard Divinity School. Um, because of that, he's also knowing what's going on in consciousness studies, and therefore can relate that to Vedanta, which is amazing. So do check um do check him out, Swami Sarvapriyananda. um I hope that this year I get to visit the New York Vedanta center that he runs, and get to have his darshan, because he is a phenomenal guy, a wonderful, beautiful human being. And I know people who've met him and they say that he's very humble, and that's what you should look for in somebody, um, is humility. So yeah, um, there's lots of things I would recommend, but do check out Swami Sarvapriyananda. He's an amazing guy. Um, and then, but I wouldn't be doing myself justice if I didn't say check out my commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. I do that on the podcast, it's free. So right now I'm going through the Bhagavad Gita. I'm on chapter 4, I think, right now. So I would say check my podcast out. Um, it's on all podcast streaming apps, or you can watch the video version um, on YouTube. And um, and yeah, and the other thing is to get the extra content that I do, like the conversations with the bearded mystic, the full length. You can either buy an Apple subscription every month, or join me on Patreon. What I'm going to be doing soon, so I was going to announce this on my newsletter. I'm happy to announce it here. I am going to do one-on-one meetings. You will have to pay for it. Um, I'm not going to do it for free unless you're poor and you can't afford it. Then I will do it for free. There's, there's no apprehension for me to do that. You just have to let me know. But yeah, basically a 30-minute one-on-one conversation, um, where we discuss your spirituality and we work together on it, as friends. So I'm not saying I'm a guru or anything like that. I'm a friend, and we're gonna help each other. Um, so that's one thing. I am doing. So if you want to support me, the link in my bio has my Patreon. Um, and if you're on YouTube, I'm going to post the link to my Patreon. Do take a look at that. That's one way you can support me, um, and support the podcast. So yeah, so these 30-minute sessions I will be doing. I just need to set it up. So yeah, from October maybe I'll start doing those. So there's a month where I will probably publicize it. Um yeah, so that's yeah, um but yeah, I think one should, whenever you spend time with people, you should. I need to find ways to fund the podcast and all the work that I do, like the editing software. I need to find ways to fund that. So that's the reason for me asking for these. Um, uh, I rather give something in return. So, for example, if I just tell you to like pay me for no reason. Like, I don't find there's a reason for that. I think you should get something in return. So I do believe in that. So that's why I like Patreon. But yeah, Sammy, ask him to reach out. For example, if you reach out to me on DMs, I'm always available. Like, I will never say no to anybody who asks for help or anything like that. As long as I have the time to do that right now, I will always do it for free. Um, but but the 30 minutes Zoom sessions, um, I'll do I'll do that for a fee. But I do a free meditation class as well every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's free. It's virtual on Zoom, so you can join. Uh, you know, the link for that I think is also in my bio, but you can contact me directly, and I can let you know about that. Um, but yeah, I think let me check. Oh yeah, so I'll put it up on my links tree, so you can join that. So every Saturday, most Saturdays, I do that, and I actually have a system now. So with the meditation, there's actually a structure to it. Um, and even after the session, I do allow Q&A. So sometimes, people ask questions and I happily give answers there as well. So, um, like I said, wherever I can offer my uh, uh, my limited knowledge to you all, I will always do that. So, but yeah, it's really nice spending time with you all. Thank you so much for the love, for the likes, for the gifts, for the support in general. Really, really appreciate it. Do look forward to this Sunday's episode. It's on Lao Tzu's first two verses of the Tao Te Ching. Um, do check that out. If you want the ad-free version, that's on Patreon and Apple subscriptions. Um, and yeah, otherwise there's the video version that's on YouTube. But yeah, take care, everybody. See you soon. See you next week. And we'll do a reaction live stream. We'll do some reaction to some videos. And yeah, take care. Stay safe, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye, Sunnyflower.